conditions of racism, the unequal distribution of resources within and between nations unchanged. Thus, on the right and the left, neo-colonial foreign policy can go hand in hand with public declarations of anti-racialism, right? So anti-racialism then is kind of formalism that ignores social oppression, blah, blah, blah. Thus, for instance, Black Lives Matter is an example of anti-racism, that is collective organized resistance to a long history. So, I mean, some people think that it's just recently that the police shootings have become a thing, but there's a long history of state violence against African Americans in particular, people of color in general, and trans people, and also poor people. There's a collective organized resistance to a long history of state violence against African Americans. In contrast, All Lives Matter is an example of anti-racialism, which denies all evidence of racial hierarchies and oppression in profiling and murder of African Americans by police, the mind-boggling rate of incarceration for men of color, and just plain old-fashioned overt racism. Sometimes it's just completely hypocritical. You know, like Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. Oh, thank God, I'm putting words on it. So, and anti-racialism is also what enables Trump to amazingly claim that Hillary Clinton is actually the racist one for charging racism when someone says I'm racist, and playing the gender card, pointing out misogynist things that he said, etc. Right? Honestly, in anti-racist terms, they're both flawed, right? But not equally so. At least one is not deliberately stoking the flames of racism, xenophobia, and misogyny, while at the same time ostensibly appealing to Black voters, but not actually, because many see this as Trump's way of appealing to white voters who don't want to be seen, they want to be seen as anti-racialists, right? So I mean, we can talk about some more in the Q&A, and I know that I've gone through a lot, but some of the options, right, is again, don't confuse anti-racialism with anti-racism, right? And there's some options or ideas for moving forward, right? The one is discourse matters, obviously, but so do institutions and structures and systems and materialities, right? The small t truths, there's really great work that has been being done all along by feminist philosophers in science, right? They take to task, that a lot, rather than a kind of capital T of universal truth, which no one has access to, right? Because no one's God, right? or I don't know. Thinking of that being in the Marvel comics who's just above everything. Nobody is that, right? So we all have, right? But the kind of way to kind of working towards better and more accurate knowledge. And this is why my next book I was very interested in cognitive cultural studies, because even though cognitive studies can be problematic, there's a lot of, even among the sort of neurologists and psychologists, they fight all the time, right? There's no, they do not agree about, they don't have a kind of simplistic empirical relationship on some of it. But most, a lot of the discourses are very sort of, a lot of the arguments are quite rigorous because they're trying to piece together a better picture, but while also understanding there's a lot they don't know. And then also I talk in the book about meta-narratives, also looking at other theory and theorists. And we were talking about Angela Davis yesterday, but also Frantz Fanon and Marable, Isan Wan. And again, this was part of more of an address to the ethnic studies and post-colonial studies, because in academia it tends to, there's a kind of idol worship, right? Or kind of sometimes a celebrity system, right? So particularly in recent years, I was seeing graduate students being trained, but not, having a characterization of the earlier 60s and 70s and earlier sort of writings, but not actually having read some other writers. Anyway, I will end there. Thank you very much. Great.
Okay, so we have time for questions and answers, and I'm going to let you field the questions.
Yes. Okay, I have a question about academic work. So I'm 100% on board with the critique and the things you were saying, and there are other people out there who are also very exhausted with the fatiguing repetitiveness of critique. And I'm thinking of like Rita Felsky's The Limits of Critique, and East Hedwig's You're So Paranoid, You Thought This Essay Is About You. On queer theory and on childhood. Okay, so what I'm seeing happen in the fields I work in is this rejection of discourse and this rejection of critique. And that what's happening in response is actually not what you're describing, which is discourse is important, but so are systems, right? But instead this oh, we're so tired of critiquing everything, let's celebrate citizenship, let's celebrate children, let's celebrate.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know I'm having a hard time figuring out intellectually how to respond to the backlash.
Right,
and it's coming. I think it comes from a position of privilege where the awareness of what the discourse critique does in the first place, we need it to survive, right?
Yeah.
But someone who doesn't feel that viscerally the way that some people do,
right.
is well, let's celebrate children's writing, rather than let's interrogate childhood, or let's stop interrogating childhood.
Right.
Okay, so that's a sort of the childhood thing is something that some people see it as politicized, and some people don't.
Right. So some people don't see sort of childhood, the concept of childhood as politicized?
I guess not. I mean, okay, so I don't who's in this room. One of my teachers, Mara Gubar, who's really famous in children's lit and childhood studies, is doing a kind of recovering children's writing from the 70s, and it's very feel good, yay, children are wonderful kind of stuff. And it maybe I don't know, it's still coming from the same place that your critique is coming from, which is this critique of childhood as problematic, or is we're tired of that, and it has the consequence of erasing real children. So let's recover real children. But then it kind of erases well, as if we're adults doing that, then it's still political. It still has.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. There's still ethical considerations. Right. So I guess and there's a similar thing happening in queer theory too, where there's papers about citizenship and about queer normality, but it's not coming from a position of critique, but more I don't know. I haven't quite figured out what's going on. So I feel I was just wondering if you had any thoughts about how do we stand in this place of critiquing critique, I guess what's happening, right? Or understanding the limits of a sort of the gesture of discourse critique, right? And as if that's enough, which is not enough. But
you can't go the opposite extreme.
The opposite direction.
That makes
that's
no
not
sense.
the answer.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Anyway, I wonder if you had any thoughts about that. I mean, you haven't run into that problem. Maybe you haven't thought about that.
Well, yes and no. I mean, so I'll tell you, and actually, the short answer is I'm not sure, right? Other than just keep saying it, but I'll give you an example of how I have encountered that problem in a way, right? So I'm involved. I go always to the Association for Asian American Studies, which was started in the 70s, and based on community, organizing, and that's where ethnic studies comes from, and all this kind of stuff, right? The field has grown a lot. It's fantastic. People are doing great work, and especially the young people are so smart. On the one hand, and this goes to the thing about academic work, right? In the beginning, when the association started, it was people in the humanities, as well as people in the social sciences, right? As well as a lot of community people, as well as, like students and artists, stuff like that. We still have artists and writers coming. But since then, most of the social scientists have left, right? I mean, they have their own, I have a lot of colleagues in Asian American psychology at Mass Lowell, and they have left, right? And so often, even though I argue against, even though I argue that contingency shouldn't be a universal virtue, sometimes you're just contingent, right? Because on the one hand, right, as I'm talking to, and again, I think it's less so now, but as I'm talking to maybe humanists, right, I'm always saying that, discourse is not enough, right? Or, talking to students in humanities, stuff like that. I mean, it's very important, right? Like we were talking about TV earlier, right? I grew up watching TV, right? TV was a large part of my childhood, so TV is very important. But materiality systems, like this information isn't important too. On the other hand, right, when I'm with social scientists, sometimes, again, some of my best friends are social scientists. Sometimes, I mean, one of my colleagues, like I mean, somehow like, it's different because one of my colleagues has she has like a critical-based feminist understanding, even though she does quantitative work, right? Whereas another one of my colleagues, she thinks that she's doing just like empirical science, like just straight up empirical science. I'm like, what? Right? I mean, like, so, yes, I mean the kind of insufficient answers to just keep saying that, right? I mean, because it needs to be said and heard in the circles that you're in, right? But then, yes.
So do you think it's about, like, sorry, it's still real quick, but to say, so one of the responses like, well, let's stop tearing down, let's build something.
Right,
okay.
right.
And it's like, let's build something, but it's also still contingent. Like, that
Right,
acknowledgement is necessary.
Right, yes.
Rather than like, let's build something, now it's the truth.
Right, yeah, no.
Right?
No, yeah. And I think that just, sort of responding that the response to, maybe an overemphasis on discourse is not then to forget, to forget critique, right? That makes no sense at all, right? I mean, that's, yeah. Okay.
If you could summarize your critique in one sentence for the people who are non-academic scholars, what would it be?
Of the post-racial or of the post-racial?
Okay, so I would say, well, ideas related to postmodernism have informed, problematic or not very, but have informed how both the left and the right want to be anti-racial, right? Like they're completely against the concept of racism, right? In various ways, right? The cheating part there is that postmodernism means, like, as you saw, like 50 million different things, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Kind of the very, very simple answer is that facts matter. I don't know, like, knowing better information, like, it is good to emphasize a kind of diversity of, opinions and ideas, right? And this is what we do in the university, right? But that greater and lesser, at least trying for greater and lesser, with the understanding that we're, imperfect, so like that we're trying for greater and lesser understanding of truth. It's important. I mean, because I do get students, and again, this is why the trickle down, I talk about this kind of like, the ideas going out into the culture. But our students are so willing to just say, well, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right? And everybody's opinion is right. And I'm like, oh, not necessarily, right? I mean, so, but it's not. I'm not advocating anything that's simple.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So this question is coming out of a personal idiosyncrasy in that I went and watched Baron Herzog's new movie last night.
Which?
Lo and behold, it's about the internet.
Oh.
And he talks a lot about how sort of the internet is just all about connection. And it occurs to me that it's sort of like there's a parallel timeline with the internet and sort of this rise of postmodernism. And Jameson, I think, would argue that they're connected. And so I guess I was wondering if you see technology, and especially network technology, as playing a role in this kind of valorization of difference for difference sake, and when that goes on.
I mean, yes, because you see it in the rhetoric of the people, I mean, I know that there are more nuanced approaches to this, but the debate over the internet and how this technology affects learning, right? Like, there are some people like, the internet is the greatest thing in the world, it's going to democratize learning and voices, and, it's like the level of the playing field, right? And then other people who are like, it's destroying our students' brains, and it's like the end of knowledge and whatever, right? And, I mean, definitely the kind of like, the model of kind of be-centered, what is this example of? I think it's Terminator 3. You guys see that movie, Terminator 3, where I love using this example with my students, where like I think it's Terminator 3, where they're like, Skynet is gonna like unleash the robots or unleash the nuclear weapons, right? So they're like running, they go to this military base and they run through the thing and they fight the soldiers to get down to and because she has told him or somebody has told them her father is from Africa, it's been a while, but that the central computer for Skynet is in the basement of that thing, and then they get there, is in this like safe bunker, right? And they get there and there's no actual like computer, like Skynet is basically like the internet, right? It's decentralized, right? I mean, her father just told her that so that she would be safe when you were in nuclear warfare. Spoiler alert. But yeah, so absolutely, it's the rhetoric. You see it in things like The Matrix, right? I mean, like the theorists, they love that movie, and it's a very cool movie, right? But the way that the virtual reality and all those kinds of things, the internet. But with the internet, for example, like one of the things that I would say in response to this idea of the internet as a kind of like, celebration and open level, about connection and openness and possibility, things like that, is that, you still need electricity and a computer, like all these material resources, in order to like have access to the internet, right? And so like in some ways it's getting easier in some ways than it's now. But I mean, I had a student who just gave me a paper and said, almost everybody has a computer. Almost everybody in the United States has a computer. So, so yeah, so definitely it's playing a large role. And the ways that both the internet, I mean, the theorization, I think, of postmodernism and the internet have been very tied together and mutually involved, right? But some of these share some of those problematic tendencies.
Anyone else? So, we have the book on anger out in the gift shop. Yes, the gift shop. Yeah. And we will be out there. So let's thank Sue J. And if you want to come and talk to her, you can briefly, but then we have to move up. Thank you.